For this exercise, we're going to work with typography for the web. I have given you an article to read on choosing appropriate fonts for the web, but you should go out and do some research on your own. There's lots of typography available for the web now. I prefer to use Google Fonts. It's a great free site that has plenty of awesome fonts on it that are available for free. They have a new version of the site, which we're going to explore today, and you can add different types of fonts. Now I asked you to select 5 different types of fonts. What I did was I chose a serif, a sans serif, a display, a handwriting, and a monospace. I'd like to see you do the same. And so I just unchecked the ones that I didn't want to work with. And I'm just going to rapidly select these without a huge amount of effort or thought into this. I'm going to just hit plus, and I'll switch to sans serif, find one that I like. Normally I would put more time and thought into this, but you don't really want to watch me think and play with these. And so I'm just going to select some. On handwriting, I really try for things that are fairly easy to read, because a lot of schools really don't teach handwriting anymore. They went straight to typing. Monospace is important to me because I usually use it for representing code, so I want something that's going to look like code but be easy to read. I like that one. Okay, so now that I've selected them, I have these 5, and I would copy this link and paste it into the head section of my HTML. Then wherever I want to use it, I would use it in my CSS this way. And I've given you the link to the Getting Started guide as well. Let's take a look at my completed page. I have all the different types of fonts, and please label which font you chose, and please don't choose the ones that I did. I want you to do something original. You'll also notice that I used the Quick Brown Fox Jumped Over the Lazy Dog. You want to have some sort of sample that uses all the letters in the alphabet. They have all sorts of examples here. Pick one that you like, or you can use different ones for each font, whatever makes you happy. I've tried to keep it fairly simple. You can see each of these fonts in another color for their H1 up at the top here. But I've basically kept them in black and left all the defaults. You are welcome to play with italicizing these and customizing these, but it's H1 through H6 in a paragraph, and you may play with your font weight and things like that. That is optional but not required. So I've got serif, which has the little lines that help your eye follow the words along the page. Traditionally, this has been used for headings, and it was better to use a sans serif on the web. That's not necessarily the case anymore. These lines help your eye travel along the line. On the web, the resolution wasn't good enough for a long time, so sans serif was easier to read on the web. The resolution has gotten good enough that you don't really need to take that into account for the most part. You choose a font that works for your material. So we have a display font, a handwriting font, and a monospace font. So you'll put in each of those, and I do recommend that you have links back to the top of the page. This is just making it user-friendly. You should try to design an attractive page. Let's look at how we coded it. So this is where I imported, just like you'd get the import statement here, or the link statement here. I copied this and I pasted it in for the fonts that I actually selected. And this is where it goes, right into my head setting. Now in my styles.css, you'll see that I have a ID for each section, for serif, sans serif, display, and I call those IDs each container has an ID. So the container formatting is the same for each one. The ID is what changes the font inside that container. So it's pretty easy to apply the Google Fonts. It's going to take you the longest time to try and select ones that you'd like, and I'd like you to really think about using them for a real project. You're going to be styling the index page for your whole site. You might want to consider fonts for that or for any of your upcoming projects. And I do encourage you to do a fair amount of research in typography for the web. There's various theories on it, and you should have a little bit of an understanding to make sure that you're getting the best, clearest, easiest to read fonts you possibly can.